So my mom kinda recommended me a topic. Well, rather than a topic, she pretty much gave me a book or a Blinkist link, and I couldn't really find or get to just listen to Blinkist. If you don't know what Blinkist is pretty much a, a shortcut way of getting free ebooks, or pretty much you want to, if there's 100 of people doing Blinkist, they will read the same thing because it's free. And I pretty much missed that they have free duration for a certain article, and I kind of no, I didn't get to retrieve or catch it or something. And so instead I just find the book, I read the book, and the book is called Radically Happy. And the very first few pages, the first 2 pages to be specific, I close the book. I didn't buy the hard copy, but then I have an ebook for it. And the reason why I closed it or I stopped reading it is the way it's written. And self-help books of making or in pursuit of happiness kind of stuff, no, there is no wrong method, but then the only thing that you need to understand is that is it effective to a certain type of people. That is something that people who write self-help book, they need to consider. It's not that you have to consider 100% everyone's gonna be yes, I'm happy by reading this book. No, you will have to pretty much, okay, I'm going to target these people only because these people are are the types of people that I understand. Yeah. Hello there, you're listening to Zolomoli's Thoughts and Nuts. With that intro is pretty much what I'm going to talk about. Well, long story short, I don't want to make the title call be way too long. So this is what I'm going to talk about, is pretty much, am I happy? Because I don't know, whenever someone or something comes to you, for example, my mom recommending the book Radically Happy, there are two things that I look at. Number one is that, are you implying that I'm not happy? Or if that's not the case, then it's pretty much that there are a lot of people that is not happy and you want me to talk about happiness, then that can be also. There are things in the world where you need to look at both ways and then reconsider your judgment. Before you continue listening this, what's your standard of being happy, or what makes you happy in this life? What are the little things, or what is it, major or minor things that make you happy? So, to answer, am I happy or not? And once again, there are two things that you need to look at. There are multiple perspectives that you can judge. However, I'm going to just pendekkan everything, all the 1,000 perspective into just 2, so that everyone can just pretty much understand, and so that I don't really have to be dive so that my train of thoughts, like heading to happy station, wouldn't stop by, oh, this station has this station has this station has this. Analogies. Anyways, so if I were to like explain, am I happy or not? In my own standards, yes, I am happy. Although I don't really look like as if I'm happy. Like, I'm always like not smiling. Like, I mean, that's normal. Because one thing that I realize is that within my family, or whenever I'm around my family, I'm the least person to smile. It's like, how do I say, tsundere type. I mean, it's embarrassing to claim that you're a tsundere, but at the same time, yeah, it's like that. Because it's like, you know, it's not that I hate being with family. No, it's like it's just built and raised like that, something like that. Yeah. Um, as I said, in other people's perspective or standard, when I explain that, it seems that I'm not happy. Well, probably I'm not acknowledging it, but at the same time, under what judgment, or like, what do you call, under what basis you're saying that I'm not happy? If it's just you considering my face, I'm not smiling every day, then that's your standard. That's not my standard. Or like, that's just because I'm not smiling doesn't mean I'm not happy. Because in this world, there is a thing called resting bitch face. I mean, it's not that I'm implying that I have a resting bitch face. It's just that certain people have different standards of happiness. Like, some people will be like, their happiness, the source of their happiness is the people around them. Some people have their own source of happiness when they are alone, or whenever um, they're doing something that they like. I mean, that is like the happiness standard lah. Like, different people have different criteria, standard, or even like different reason to be happy. Like, these things are what makes them happy. And to be honest, like, to share what makes me happy, and I just realized this as I was like typing in like my notes to refer in case I diverge my topic. um Recently, I'm very, like, very joyful, although my face is not really like, I would feel joyful, but then my face does not show it, because I have no idea why. But then probably I'll go into that. And what makes me happy nowadays is that whenever I'm cooking, like, I realize that I really like cooking, because, like, I don't know, the idea of like preparing something or mixing. For your information, I love making my own concoction. Is it concoction? What do you call that? Like a mixture of essential oils. Like, I'll just like pretty much mix oils, and then a nice fragrance is made. I like mixing things. The same way I juxtapose my final year project bass guitar and then projection mapping. I like mixing things. And other than cooking and mixing stuff, or cooking, this I think this developed like literally recently as I got a proper mic, and then I started posting properly, although not really frequently. I'm happy whenever I'm recording a podcast. And as I said, like me doing podcast is something that you would really, really don't even like. You'll never think that I like if you meet me for the first time, you must be doing podcast. No, you would be like, this guy loves to be inside his own room. I mean, that's not really wrong because COVID is, still around. I mean, if COVID's not around, I would be like going to KLCC or anywhere, just, going out. I would even travel if I have money anyway. But that's not the problem. So pretty much I am very like, I get like light foot, like I would hum, those little things that show when you're happy or like very excited. It's not always the face. It's always like the little things. Like for example, you get giddy when like you cannot stop, or the subtle movements or subtle actions that shows um, that you are happy, and that applies to all other emotions. For example, if you're anxious, you don't really actually say I'm anxious. You're pretty much going to be like very fidgety, and then your hands start getting cold, you get cold sweat, you can't sit properly. That's the subtle actions or movement to show that you are anxious. And however, that people like my mom, pretty much they do not understand subtle movements, subtle actions. Like they want for like, are you happy? So if you are happy, you need to smile. Or pretty much, long story short, to if you're feeling this, then you need to show it properly. Or the old way of, you know, teach the pretty much like, I don't know, like probably there are, because there are things in life where not everything needs to be proven or shown to others, because or even not everything needs to be exposed. Rather than exposed, the proper word is like to announce, like for like, are you okay? The idea of saying are you okay, that statement or question is really messed up in a way, if you get me. Because first of all, whenever people ask, or especially your auntie, uncle, your mom, your dad, anyone lah, except probably few friends, because most people would be like, when they ask you, are you okay? They, I mean, most of the time, the expected answer they wanted to hear is, yeah, I'm okay. And that is where it's messed up, because we are not allowed to be not okay. And okay lah, for instance, when we say that I'm feeling under the weather, or I'm not feeling so great right now, I have this, and then pretty much the reply that we get in return is like, oh, but why are you feeling like this? You should be happy, because they're not acknowledging the idea of us being not okay. You want, like, the society, the idea, the idea the society has when it comes to the standard of happiness is that you need to constantly be okay for you to be happy. And they disregarded the idea of like you're not okay. You know, it's like sweeping your problems under the rug and then pretending that it's not there anymore. Yeah, that is kinda very messed up. So, me personally saying like explaining that whether I'm happy or not, most of the time my happiness is accumulated with by actions. Like if I do this, then I'll be happy, and then if I do this, I'll be happy. If I rest for a bit after doing so much stuff, then I'll be happy. And there's this thing called the switch, the happy. It's like it's like a switch off, a turn off. If I'm happy or not. Whenever people ask, "Are you okay?" Especially my mom asking, "You okay or not?" And it is I understand the idea of asking is like the like the facade or your intention is like very like I care about you. I mean that's normal. I mean that's how asking are you okay is like. But then nowadays, I mean rather nowadays, the idea that I get, especially because most of the time whenever my auntie or anyone older than 30 or 25, not 25 lah, probably 30 or 40 lah, they pretty much would expect you to say that you're okay. And I mean that's expectations. That is what expectation does. I mean even if so, the only reply that I say two things is that number one, oh yes I'm okay, and second, oh yes I'm doing this. You know, it's as if you need to prove that you're doing things and not being a lazy bum. I mean I'm not much of a lazy bum. One thing that I realize is that I don't really like to report what I'm doing. I mean, when it comes to doing work in a company, then you have to do reports. And then that's normal. But you know, to state, to mention the elephant in the room, for example, and I don't really like stating the obvious, like apa ya? You know, as for instance, you this is from a TikTok video that I saw, and this guy got a video. No, this guy got a new phone. Like, yay, happy. So, are you gonna use it? No, I'm gonna throw it. It's an obvious thing. Like, why would you bother to what do you call mention it? Yeah, and at the same time to like not offend most of the people. I know the reason why you're doing this like little talks is just to make conversations, and you know what, I guess that's okay, because I don't know, i I enjoy late night talks, like deep talks, and but then I don't really enjoy the obvious, stating obvious facts, like, hey, I don't know, something so obvious. I think I've developed this trait where, I mean, it's kind of like practice lah kan. I don't mention what is obvious. Like, unless you're that kind of person who really wants me to like state such oblivious stuff. Yeah. So if I'm using the society standard of happiness, when I say society, it means like the general people, like how, like, the general idea of being happy, the old idea of happy, like, or the textbook idea of happiness. If I were to use that standard and then ask myself, am I happy or not? I'll be like answering, no, I'm not happy with the general standard. I'm not happy. But then with my standard, I am very happy. Well, very is very, way overboard. If I were to like, be like safe, I'm pretty much happy. It's just that I don't show it through my face or emotion. I'm very like, hmm. Because one thing that I remember, uh, during uni, when I was in faculty, and there's this one lecturer that, I mean, he's a nice guy, but at the same time, I cannot, follow up or keep up to his like kepochiness, like very, and whenever he goes out from the uh, lecturer's office and have to go outside, whenever lecturers have to go out, they have to go through the faculty, and usually whenever that lecturer passes by, he will be like, what are you guys doing? Hi, okay, okay. And then my face is gonna be like this. Yeah, haha. And the moment he gets out, or like he's not in the faculty anymore, like out from the door, my face straight up, like from 100 to 0 instantly, like and the friend that's sitting in front of me is like, she was like, oh my god. She was so surprised that I could change my expression instantly without having to like, gradually be like, I mean, I guess I'm fake in a manner. I am that fake when it comes to like having to show politeness with people that I hate. Yeah. I mean, I don't really hate him now because, I mean, when I say him, it's that lecturer, because he has his own difficulties and problems that he has to like cope, and then we students also have things to like cope. I mean, in this world there are things where we are, bothered with our own problems to a point where we don't really want to care about others, something like that. So to point back, um my mom like recommended the book Radically Happy. I read 2 pages and then I stopped. Not because it's too long. I mean, I can read like 200 pages within 8 hours, non-stop. If I have to stop sometimes, then it would take a day, because self-help books are not meant to be read at once in one go, unless it's very, there's a story behind. I mean, the Radically Happy book, there there's like there is what you call a little story, but then I stopped because the idea that they're using does not and cannot, like, I cannot apply it to myself, because two things. Number one, the way it's written is very condescending. Like there's no connection. I cannot feel a connection to the author. Like, okay, but then what does it have to do with me? So I stopped reading, but then I read like few pages of every chapter, like just to get the gist of what the author really wants to convey. And the second idea that um he like wanted to like use the ideology of being happy is that how to be more of a tiger rather than a dog. And to like explain what that means, when you throw a stick at a dog or like just throw something and then the dog would like just chase it and retrieve it. However, when you throw a stick or a stone to a tiger, the tiger does not do anything. Quoted by the author. And I mean, realistically thinking, that is true. Although, in terms of animal or zoology kind of habits reading, if you throw at a dog, yes, definitely they will chase it and then they will give it to you back. And if you throw a stone at a tiger, you will definitely gonna die. Yeah. So the reason why I don't really like, jump, nope, no, thank you. I'll I'll not read this because the idea of how to be more of a tiger and not much of a dog, the idea that I get is that you're disregarding personalities. And me personally saying I'm very much more of a dog because I tend to give care to anyone and everyone that I meet. Like, I mean, this applies to everyone. Whenever they talk, I would listen. Or if they need help, I would help. There is like 10% chance, okay, not point lah, 5 to 8% chance probability of me saying no, which is very low because most of the time I don't really decline SOS. I would really help because I don't know how to say no. And the tendency of me helping out is higher. So that is why um I I stopped reading the book and then I just throw it away. I mean, I should read it because probably there is like few insights that I can use. And so instead of like as I said, certain books or certain self-help books does not apply to the whole people on this earth. And it's okay because different people have different way of coping, different people have different way of like finding their own happiness. And yeah, you cannot please the like everyone on earth. Like, that's pretty much hell. And not even in hell or heaven you can please everyone, every single person on earth to like you or to depends lah. Like, is it to please them or to make them like you or to give a method that everyone can follow? No, you cannot, because different people, different personality, different style. So um there's this one book that I like. It's uh, if the book that I did not like, the radically happy book, like I just throw it away because it's like just yammering, jabbering, and like here apa, what do you call it? Masuk telinga kanan keluar kiri, is it what you called it? Something like that. Yeah. So, and that book is what it's gonna be. But then there is another book that is like a slap to my face that I really needed. Like it's a wake up call. And that book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Yeah. I mean, that's gonna get censored because, might as well just censor because, swearing is bad. Yeah. So the reason why this book like is like calling to me rather than calling, is like if books are alive, this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, literally shouting at me to like stop giving damns and start doing your thing without giving damns about others, something like that. Like it's literally shouting at me like you can be happy. Unlike the other book, there are, as I said, different methods apply to different people. And it's not wrong, but different, the same, what do you call, same vision, which is happiness. But then when you're reaching like to this, like, what do you call, happiness, there are lots of paths going towards the same goal. And neither, like either road or any road that you choose to go for, uh, there's no wrong. You're not gonna go to hell if you're doing something. I mean, whichever route you choose, it's not wrong unless you start killing people and then you call it happiness. I guess you need to reconsider life or your goal, because I mean, there's whenever we're talking about right and wrong, there is like very subjectivity. There's so much subjectivity that to a point where, for example, authorities, we are governed by baboons, and then our authorities like police are very much like monkeys. Even monkeys are better than them. They chose to like sue um people, like the idea where Nilofa gets married and then does not follow SOP, yet they did not get sued yet. Saman is sued, right? Whatever lah. Yet very hardworking, people lose job and then they have to like find or make a job for themselves in order to like get food and meal on their table for their family. And these authorities be like, we're not gonna summon the famous people, but we're gonna summon this very um when very kasian guy. Even when you think about it, I mean, I don't know the backstory, but then the very front page, the headlines, it's obviously like messed up, in every way. You choose like not to like, what do you call, summon people with names and authorities, yet you choose to give misery to the ones who are still like fighting for their lives, and like to find to get money, because these days it's not easy. And due to that, I mean, to stop by a station, I talked about, I mean, I didn't talk to anyone, but then it would be better if I were to live on a stranded island and then I make my own house. I mean, simple house, simple, with just logs and, camp style, not even like the top, unless I get a lot of um, wood to make proper house on that stranded, isolated island. Stranded island, not isolated. If I'm stranded or something like that. So the idea, if I'm not living, like, if I were to not chase money, because you know it's not really the idea of chasing money is bad, but in order for you to be happy in like Banda or a growing town or something, like the current area you're living, you need money no matter what. And I thought, if I were to not chase money and be happy with that, I would rather be stranded on an island, as I say, make my own house. Whenever I'm hungry, then I'll just go hunting, like fish. I mean, fish is nice, and if I need like meat, I can just go hunt in the jungle. I mean, and I know some people be like, that's so primitive, that's gonna harm people. No, 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 it's not as primitive as you think, or it's not as like, it's not old ways. Like, I choose to live that way, so that, and my basic needs is fulfilled, like food, shelter, and probably clothing or something. What's the three basic needs? I forgot. Food and shelter lah kan? Food, water, shelter? Whatever lah. So, and what different from that ideal lifestyle that I want, stranded on an island, but then I have the skills to like live, compared to living in a society where you need to work for someone, and then be stressed about it and be paid for every month, and then end up not getting like like there's, I don't know, it's like you can consider economy is a problem, but then at the same time there's no difference, right? You want to chase, you want to like to get, you want to live. So if you like island and then city, in order to live, food, water, shelter, food, water, shelter. And if in the city, food, water, shelter, in order for you to get these three, you need money. However, on the island, same also. In order for you to get these three things, you need to get it yourself. Yourself, not currency. Because currency is very like, it's flopping. And as I say, we are governed by baboons and our authorities are monkeys. They're not helping. They're pretty much, yeah, they're not helping. If I have to think that way lah. I mean, not every lah. If I have to like, kiss those people's ass and they say, no, you're not like this, whatever lah. And to share a quote from a Korean drama, if there's an apple and it is half bad, half fresh, half rotten, You don't say that apple is half fresh, half rotten. You say it's a rotten apple. Easy. I mean, it's that easy. We don't really have to, like, kiss up people's ass and then say, yeah, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah. So to continue back, like, the reason why I like the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, is that first, the way it's written is very persuasive and very casual, and compared to Radically Happy, there's more example of third person um third person examples, like, this guy is a drunkard, yet he does poetry. However, in the book, Radically Happy, there is so much first person example that it's very, you know, like, the author is superior to the readers. So, like, that's not really much of a self help. So then, people really like it. If, okay, if there's like story A goes be like, this guy is very bad at making friends, and then suddenly he goes through these, and then goes through a makeover, and then somehow he gets famous. Okay, that's a very rough example. And then compared to, like, story B, where I am rich, I am very handsome, I am very, capable of doing stuff. And as I work, I get, I get to reach my goal. So compared to story A and story B, people would relate. People would love to listen on story A because, from low to high, compared to this, is like, compared to story B, it's constantly high. And to borrow to quote from the book Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, most most self-help books, um, they don't really, what you call, they don't, what you call it? They don't really teach you to acknowledge what you have now, and instead they laser on to what you're lacking, and then when they're saying that that's what you lack, but then they give this idea of dream, where in order for you to be happy, this the non, like, you cannot reach it lah, the things that you cannot reach. In order for you to be happy, you need to be more happy, more money, more skills, more friends. And yes, that's messed up lah, because self-help, if you're trying to help people to be, like, better and happier, then why are you, like, giving them false hope instead of, like, you know properly coaching? Because when it comes to, like, if I were to, like, share, or, like, to, what you call, if there is a person or anyone that comes to me and then they have this problem or any problem, the first thing that I would actually do is listen to them talk. That's the first thing. Second, if I have to, like, point it out, they need to acknowledge that they are this, and it's okay. Like, the world's not ending if you're in a rut. Like, for example, you play a guitar and then the guitar string, the very thin string, like, snaps. Is the world gonna end? No. I mean, it's okay to not be okay. That's the idea. And when you start to get that, mindset, it's okay to not be okay, you will realize that your happiness standard, like, I mean, like, you won't be as bothered as, like, the standards happy the society tries to push you. Yeah, something like that. And also, to share, I used to be like go with the flow kind of fish. Like wherever, if I'm the fish and then you throw me in any river, I'm like, you know what? I'll just follow the flow, go with the flow. Because why? I as much although I did say I said like go with the flow, in reality, most of the time it's like whenever people be like, you need to go to SBP, and then okay, then I'll just go to SBP. Okay, you need to get straight A's. Okay, then I get straight A's. But when SPM was getting close, I changed a bit. I started going against the flow because the river is like the standard society is like pushing you, or like, in order for you to be happy, you need to be more happier, something like that. And because of that, like, in case of SPM, it's like, in order for you to get into a better university, you need to get straight A plus. In order for you to get a scholarship, you need to get straight A plus, and that is impossible because scholarship there's not much. And I mean, I've touched on this topic, so I'm not gonna go deeper on it. And yeah, I realized that me going against the flow, some people be like, oh my god, you're breaking the rules. No. If my happiness is not at the end of the waterfall and is like somewhere up there, like somewhere like I pretty much, terlepas, stop, something like that, then I need to go against the flow to go back to where I'm happy. Like, there are things that you need to, like, although there are things that you need to follow, like, for example, rules. I mean, even if I say rules, but like, now the recent media or headlines are not making any better because the rules are messed up also. Whoever is doing, who breaks SOP gets fined. Fine, not sue. Fine, that's the word. See, that's as I said, there are things in this world that you need to follow, or there are things that you need to give a damn. And like, when I say like the subtle art of not giving a fuck, I'm not saying that you should not give a damn to, like, the issues that is happening. I mean, like, it depends. If it affects you, then you should give a damn. If it doesn't, I mean, you at least try to be more educated on the issue so that you're not missing out. See, this is why I need to, like, stop giving damns about people, because I give too much damns around me to a point where I cannot say what my real self is. And I also want to be, like, more selfless, like, more, I want to stand my ground. But then no, people keep on tripping me, and then, step on me, you need to do this because why, you are below me. As I like, so in order to, like, conclude lah, happiness is very subjective. It does not Your happiness, your standard happiness, does not apply to other people. I mean, if you have the similar happiness, standard happiness with some people in the world, then good, because you're not alone. And but then you need to understand also that if you force your idea of happiness onto other who have like a different perspective of happiness, you're just being disrespectful. I mean, if you're talking friend to friend again, if you're talking about family to family, then you're just not being understanding. It's not really much of respect. It's just that, you're not understanding. I guess I'm gonna end here. I don't know how to end again. Uh, but probably I would love to explain more or to talk more about the book that I prefer, and I would compare it to, like, because that is like under drafts that I have, because I've like typed a long ass review for me to like talk about those two books. Then, if you're interested, then do comment below, do a book review. I mean, surprising. I mean, I'm a bookworm in a way, because I read books in my in my phone. There's like around, it is like 70-80 books, ebooks, that I keep inside my phone so that I can just read anytime I'm outside waiting for anything. And other than that, I also have like drafts, like recorded podcasts, but I choose not to post because it's very unfiltered. And by what I mean by unfiltered is pretty much all over the place. And if you're watching this or listening to this, what do you call, if you're interested to know what that is, the topic that the unfiltered episode is 7 rules that I held to myself. I mean, I won't go deeper, but if you feel that I should post that, then once again, comment down below. And yes, that is all from Zolimoli's Thoughts and Art. It has been Zolimoli Deshita.